Hi, this is Kaery with Kaery Concealed and the Active Self-Protection Extra channel. Today, we're going to talk about the Overtrying Trap. Come on back and we'll do that.
This is not a paid endorsement, but I am a brand ambassador for Heckler and Koch USA. HK firearms are incredibly reliable, incredibly accurate, great firearms for defensive carry. From the new VP9A1 to the CC9 to the P30 that I have carried every day for the last 8 years, they are incredible firearms for defensive use. You carry a gun just in case. Shouldn't it be an HK just in case?
All right, today we're talking about the Overtrying Trap. Recently, I was able to had the privilege of attending an NRA Level 1 pistol coaching course. And it was taught by a gentleman by the name of Eric Pupke, and he is from the great state of North Dakota. And he is one of the coaches for the Olympic pistol shooting team. And during that course, Mr. Pupke showed a video, he showed some videos too, but he showed a picture of these folks right here. I'll put that up nice and close so you can hopefully see it. And as you can see, that is Lanny Basham and Margaret Murdoch at the the 1976 Olympic Games. And seeing the picture of Lanny Basham made me think of what we're going to talk about today. Let me tell you about that picture, though. So in that photo, Lanny Basham and Miss Murdoch, whichever one, are standing on the very top, the first place part of the platform. And what had happened, apparently, is there was some discrepancy or mix-up in the match scoring. And so there ended up being a tie between the two. And this is back at the time when men and women did not compete in different categories in the shooting sports in the Olympics. So Margaret thought that she had won the event. She had been told she had won. And so for about an hour to an hour and a half, she thought she had won the event. And Mr. Lanny thought that he was second place. And then as they were getting ready to go on the podium, they realized that there was a discrepancy. I don't know what that was. I'm sure you can look it up online if you want to. And rather than having them do a shoot off, which is typically what happens, they just took the last 10 shots scored by each individual, and that's what made for the score. So Mr. Basham ended up being the one that won. When the national anthem started playing, he pulled her up onto the podium with him because neither of them were happy that it wasn't going to be a shoot off that they typically they were used to having. So Mr. Lanny Basham is a quality man. That's a phenomenal display of sportsmanship for any sport, especially in the shooting sports, I think. And seeing that photo reminded me of what Lanny Basham says in his book called With Winning in Mind, what he says about overtrying and how overtrying can end up being detrimental to us when we're shooting. And the way he describes it, I think, is really helpful. I just got back from teaching a two-day sniper pistol class in Georgia, North Georgia. And during that class, one of the things that I prepared for was to share some Brian Enos quotes or posts that I found a long, long time ago, where he talks about getting in the zone and what that looks like and what that means. And so that's one of the things we talked about during the class, but we also talked about overtrying. And so before I talk about what Mr. Lanny Basham has to say about overtrying, I would like to tell you a little story of what happens when you don't overtry, or what happened to me when I stopped overtrying. It was a number of years ago, probably 15 years ago. I was at a class at a local range about an hour from my house, and I was there with my two oldest children. So I was very thankful that we could all take that class together. So the three of us went. It was a 5-day class called Comprehensive Handgun, and you shot anywhere between 1,800 and 2,300 rounds during those 5 days. So our hands were sore, but we learned a ton. We had a great time. The beauty of that range and that teacher, Ed Santos is his name. He's now since sold the range, but Mr. Ed would allow his students to repeat classes once a year at no charge. So I took comprehensive pistol probably 3 or 4 times before Mr. Santos sold his range. And I think one of my kids repeated that class also. But anyway, we're shooting during that class, and he does a beautiful job of breaking up precision shooting with some more accuracy-based at speed type shooting. One of the drills that he had us do was he ran the target carriers all the way out to 50 yards. And I don't have the greatest vision. And so I could barely make out the silhouette on the target. It was a very light colored blue silhouette. I could definitely see the actual backer, I could see the white target itself, the outline of that, but I could barely see the silhouette on the backer. And I thought, well, all I can do is just follow the process that I have. If I can't see, if I don't know if I'm getting my hits, because I could barely see the outline of the target, let alone see if I was getting my hits, the only thing I could do was follow my process. And so I just kind of settled into that. And I'll show you, this is my process at the time. And I started with just relax and breathe, and then ground. I think it was like feel the ground and tall toes. For me, that was a reminder that I wanted to grip the ground with my toes, and having them tall helped me think of that. And then crush grip. For me at that time, that's a time when my grip strength was really low. It was in the low 40s. And so for me, holding on to the pistol was, I was concerned I was going to drop it, to be quite honest. And then height, equal light. That's supposed to be an equal sign. And then this says GNAT or NAT. I have kids that are learning to spell words that start with like G and K, like GNAT and Knock instead of knock. Anyway, GNAT had to do with Mr. Ed encouraged us, if you can see your front sight well enough to know that if a gnat landed on your front sight, what color its eyeballs are, that's how you know that you're focusing on your front sight carefully enough to get the hits you want to get at 50 yards. And then I had the keep pressing. And then again, I checked so this is kind of the last vital thing that we're going to do. Dr. Vickers, Joan Vickers, and Dr. Lewinsky talk about that like half up second, that last final fixation, making sure that things are where they're supposed to be. And then I needed to just trust myself and trust my sights. And I had a couple of reminders over here. Perfect is the enemy of good enough. And then self-image, which Lanny Basham talks about in his book. But it is like me to shoot a 3-inch group at 25 yards. It wasn't at the time, but I sure wanted it. Actually, at 25 yards, yes, it was. Sorry. At 50 yards, it was not like me to shoot a 3-inch group. And then put all rounds in one hole, and then see every round in the same hole. So working on my image, but that was my process. So I stepped to the line, and we had unlimited time to shoot. I think we had 10 minutes or so to shoot. I'm going to forget now. I want to say it was 30 rounds at 50 yards. And the rounds just had to be in the silhouette. So I did my stuff. I was probably the last person done. If not, I was almost the last person done. But if I remember right, I was the last person done. And when I was done, you were just supposed to holster your gun and then go fill your magazines. And so I did. I picked up my magazines off the floor. This range had partitions between each shooting base, so it was safe, and ballistic partitions, so safe to bend over and pick up things off the floor. So I bent over and went over and started filling my magazines, and several people walked by and they're like, "Man, nice shooting, Kaery." And I said, "Really?" And they laughed a little bit. And then my daughter came over and she said, "Mom, you actually shot really well." She knew I couldn't see my target at that distance. She said, "Mom, you shot really well." And that surprised me, to be quite honest. It shouldn't have surprised me, but it did surprise me. But there was nothing I could do to try harder. I couldn't see anything, whether I was getting my hits or not. All I could do was trust the process that I had. And so that's what Lanny Basham talks about in his book. So let me talk to you about, or let me just share a couple quotes with you from the book With Winning in Mind, if you're okay with that. Most of us believe that if we're going to do something that really matters, that we have to give it 120% in order to do our best at it. And there are some activities where doing something at 120% level does not serve us best. So Lanny Basham says, "It seems to me that all things in life require a certain amount of mental effort to do them well. If we give them 1% less effort than is required or 1% more than is needed, the performance tends to drop. The key is to find the proper level of mental effort for that task." And here's how he defines overtrying. This is a direct quote. He says, "Shooting requires control, not power. And when we try to overpower the gun, we tend to lose control. Shooters tend to experience a greater chance of overpowering the gun when they are trying to make a shot on target instead of trusting that the shot will subconsciously come together." So if we're thinking, "Oh, I have to hit all these targets," then I'm pushing myself. And likely, if I'm pushing myself, I tend to tense up a little bit. So we need to find the point at which we're trying or working just hard enough, putting just the right amount of effort in, but not too much effort in. So Lanny Basham says, I thought this hit me, struck me immensely when I read the book the first time. He explains that in his experience, 95% of competitors in a competition are overtrying for at least some, if not the entire competition. And he said, stop trying to make the shot and trust the shot will come together subconsciously. And that's exactly what happened to me that day in that class. I'm thankful that I wasn't able to see my target. It was very concerning to me to begin with, that I knew I could see some hits when some of them grouped together, but I could not see just one hit here and there on the target. And so I'm thankful that I couldn't see the target, because that's when I really began to trust my process. And I knew that at that point that if the shot felt good when I was pressing, if I was exactly in my process where I wanted to be and trusting my process and not overtrying, I knew that what I felt here is exactly what I would see on paper at 50 yards. And that is exactly what happened. I was shocked when my target came back and I was able to see what the hits were. Just absolutely shocked. So Mr. Lanny says there are 3 reasons that people typically overtry. He said the first reason is they're afraid to trust their subconscious skill. He said they're often extra careful, or they'll try extra hard. And he says being extra careful or working hard in competition, he said both of those equal overtrying. He said champions work hard in training and work easy in competition. Work hard enough in practice to trust your subconscious in the competition. And that's one of the things I ask students at the sniper pistol class in Georgia. What do you need to find out about your process to trust it fully? And I think that's part of the key. In another video, we're going to talk about Brian Enos and one of his posts where he talks about the zone and what it feels like to be in the zone. And anyway, it's one of the things he mentioned. So we'll talk about that in the video coming up. The second reason that Mr. Lanny says that people overtry is he said they're thinking about the outcome and not the process. So if we focus on the next step instead of the final result, that's going to be best for us. So the second reason people overtry is they're thinking about the outcome, and that equals overtrying as well. So not thinking about the outcome, not worrying about the outcome, letting the outcome take care of itself. Think about the process and the outcome will take care of itself. And he said the third reason is that people operate on the misconception that trying harder will produce a greater chance of success. He said we need to stop caring so much about our score and our competition and winning, and care more about executing our process perfectly, or as perfectly as we can. So he says, stop trying and start trusting, focus on the next step, not the final result. And I enjoyed that chapter from Lanny Basham. So if you haven't read that book and this is something that is interesting to you, I don't think you'll regret it at all. It is available on Audible also. And thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.